What? What y'all looking at? Oh, this? Y'all act like you never seen anybody with Christmas spirit before. Well, I hope you had a fabulous Thanksgiving and that your December, your Christmas season, is started off well. Speaking of December, the stock market historically does pretty well this month. In fact, the S&P 500, the broad market index we use to gauge general market performance, the S&P is up about an average of 1.5% in the month of December, which makes it the third best month overall. And it has closed higher 3 out of every 4 years, which makes it the most likely of the 12 months to end higher. Now, only once, and that was in 2018, has December been the worst month of the year, which suggests that large drops are pretty rare. But then along comes the Omicron variant, right? Well, this has brought more questions than answers. And of course, we're in wait and see mode. But this has the potential to make what is usually a pretty stable and almost always higher December maybe a little more volatile than normal. So jury is still out, but it appears that this new Omicron variant is more transmissible, but much less deadly than previous COVID variants. Of course, the question will be its impact on the economy when it comes to market performance and stock performance, and whether governments worldwide, whether governments here domestically feel the need to take drastic measures if we were to head back towards lockdown, towards restrictive, governmental edicts, then of course the market will respond. In fact, we've had a little taste of that, haven't we? I can count actually on one finger how many times in the 23 years I've been doing this that the Friday after Thanksgiving Thursday, we were down 1,000 points. And so, in fact, last week, every single day was a 1% move on the markets, either up or down. And so, it'll certainly be something to watch, but it goes back to a topic and an issue we've addressed on these videos multiple times. One of the two primary drivers for this market performance has been the reopen. And of course, if Omicron or the next variant is something that keeps that reopen from happening, or we even backslide into lockdowns, of course, the market is going to react to that negatively. Now, we also heard from the Fed last week. In fact, we have re-upped Chairman Powell. This current administration just re-upped him. And we heard from them last week. And surprisingly, he decided about 7 minutes, it felt like, after he was re-upped as chairman, he decided to retire the word transitory. Now, we've had quite a laugh here over the last several months in talking about the Fed's insistence that this inflation was transitory, meaning temporary. We all, anybody fills up with gas or has, been to the grocery store knows that this has been pretty serious inflation and doesn't seem to be terribly temporary or transitory. And of course, Chairman Powell has now retired that word transitory, which potentially brings some concern. Now, he chalked that inflation up to supply and demand imbalances, so supply chain issues. Of course, the concern, as we discussed last month, is that this inflation may cause the Fed to be overly aggressive in raising rates. And of course, when that occurs, usually markets don't care for it too much. The good news is that markets historically do not sell off and correct in the year prior to a rate hike. In fact, rate hikes usually signal full employment and a solid economy, which is something markets usually like. Recently, the Purchasing Manufacturing Index just reported 61, and 50 or higher on that index means expansion. So 61, obviously a fairly optimistic and positive sign. And lastly, when the S&P is negative in November, like it was this past month, December has been higher 19 of the 22 times that's occurred. That's 86.3% of the time. Well, from our family to yours, we wish you a blessed Christmas and a happy New Year. You'll never know the blessing that it is for me to do what I love and to do it with great people like you. God bless. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We'll talk to you soon.